49ers right now have two quarterbacks who are significant in their locker room. How do you think this dynamic is going to play out with two quarterbacks? And do you think the 49ers can survive this change from one quarterback to another? And if not the change, having the two quarterbacks together this season?
Ben, these guys are going to be talking about it, right? These guys,
Yeah.
This is their job. They want to win games. They're going to talk amongst themselves on, hey, did you see the throw Trey Lance just made today? These are things that they discuss, all right? But what I will say is I think we have the locker room headed by Fred Warner, who just got extended, George Kittle. We have phenomenal people, right? They're great players, but they're also good people. And when your stars, right, take the lead and they're not divas or prima donnas about it, I think that sets the tone. So I don't expect having two quarterbacks to be an issue for these players.
I think I agree with you. I think the way the 49ers are set up now, I do not think it will be an issue. But let me propose this to you, Bay, and if I can put on my own, Grant cap. If the 49ers go into the season with Jimmy being the quote-unquote presumptive starter and Trey Lance is close to, if not better than him, the 49ers locker room could start turning against each other. I'm not saying this will happen. I don't think this is the likely scenario, but let's be real, Bay. There is a real situation where Trey Lance is proving to people in practice why he deserves to play, and that Jimmy Garoppolo is winning and he's doing enough to stay in place. But part of the team knows that this kid that we're looking at, this kid we're watching, he's the future of this team. So do you think there's any issue the 49ers could run into where if they start Jimmy and it gets close with Trey, there's a lot of players saying to themselves, well, why aren't we starting the kid? I know Jimmy has proven all this to us. We've won with him before, but we've also never had another quarterback who was even close to this level who could come in and play. So how do you think that dynamic plays out if it is a situation where Jimmy Garoppolo is the starter and Trey Lance is looking good in practice and gosh, the team has to deal with potentially splitting the locker room between the two quarterbacks?
You know what they say, Ben? Winning cures all. All right.
Absolutely.
So if they're winning games and Jimmy's winning games, I don't think there will be much pushback. If for some reason the season starts going south or we start off slow and for whatever reason they're still riding with Jimmy, then I could potentially see that's the scenario where I could see, maybe a getting out. It's where you hear unnamed players talk, right? Because when you're talking about that, you don't want to put a name on it. And I hate those reports, by the way, where it's like an unnamed player says the coach. But I'm not a fan of that type of reporting. But that's where I'm at with it, Ben.
No, and you know what? That's a fair opinion. I think the thing that will hold this team together, and if we're talking about the super positive side of this, is that, like you mentioned before, the 49ers have great leaders already in place in their locker room. I don't think there's going to be a question of where the leadership lies. I guess to me, the only concern I have is if the coaching staff starts muddying up, who is the starting quarterback and who isn't, and why they are and why they aren't, and who's getting the job and when. I think that's where things do get a little scary. But I think so far the 49ers have handled this the right way. So I don't think that will become much of an issue. Although it is something to note because it does happen with some teams and it does become an issue in some locker rooms. I think with the way the 49ers are set up now, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue.